So this has been a really big week for geospatial, and I wanted to cover 5 areas that you may have missed this week. Let's start with number 1, Geospatial AI. A really big report came out of the UK this week from the Geospatial Commission focused on geospatial AI. It's the most comprehensive report I've probably read so far on that area. It's focused on planning, and it talks about how you can use AI with geospatial data in the planning process. It's focused on a particular part of the UK, and there is a demo or a prototype that's been developed called Demoland. I'll provide a link to below this video or above this video. You can play around with the data, you can play around with the prototype. Satlis was also mentioned in the report, another, I believe, publicly funded project which allows you to go in, visualize output from geospatial AI and to download that data. Again, more links I'll include below this. So really important report. I think one note I'll make on that report is it's very focused on LLMs. Some in the comments section, Ed Parsons of Google mentioned the fact that LLMs are limited when it comes to geospatial. That's where the Niantic, which was a report which was published last week, actually, the week before last, the guys behind Pokemon Go, they're collecting data and they're building an LGM, a large geospatial model. So that's a really important development and is kind of in line with what that Geospatial Commission report is talking about, but slightly different. So again, well worth following, and there'll be more on this to come. The second thing, I picked up on a couple of job reports for next year. What are the most popular jobs in 2025? And it was interesting to read them both. One was out of South Africa and one was out of India, actually. The jobs that they mention, a number of them are geospatial jobs. In fact, I think in both cases, half of them were. There were IoT jobs, there's digital twin jobs, there's green economy jobs, there's data jobs. So I'll include the links, but it's really interesting to see how geospatial is becoming ever more important, and the most in-demand jobs will be fundamentally geospatial. So that's very cool. This week as well, Umbra announced their partnership with Array Labs. Now, Umbra are a satellite company that work with SAR. Now, SAR is radar data that can punch through clouds and work at night. So unlike a lot of the satellite imagery that we work with, they work with SAR, complicated data, but they're really pushing the envelope. And with Array Labs, they're generating 3D versions of the Earth from satellite. This is huge. It's huge because it's SAR, because SAR works 24/7, clouds, no clouds, night or day, and the turnaround is really quick. So if there are events happening which need monitoring quickly, that's a really great source to do it. And there's nothing that's going to get in the way of the data they can produce here. So again, one really closely worth watching. The fourth one, there was a really interesting report that came out of the University of Austin about training an LLM on images and soundscapes. What does that mean? What they're trying to do is they're trying to see if a soundscape, listening without seeing, can produce an image. And what they found was quite remarkable. They trained the model against these soundscapes and images and came out with results which were phenomenal. Not 100% accurate, obviously. Inputting a sound file and generate an image from that sound file. That's what they've trained the model on. But really interesting development. Complement other data sets. Most of the data sets in geospatial are visually sourced. This is sound sourced. So again, it'll be interesting to see where those guys can take it to and what that actually potentially means in terms of another geospatial data source. Fifth one, which I think is really worth mentioning, is I shared a couple of things this week. A company called 𝐍𝐞𝐤𝐬, who are taking the ability now for us to collect three-dimensional data, LiDAR data on a cell phone, and generate a 3D model from that. So they're making it a more seamless experience. No longer do we need to be experts in processing and data. It's now kind of a seamless experience. So that's a really interesting development, and I've had a couple of conversations about this week. I think that we talk a lot about this improved ability to collect data by non-experts. So we've got these isolated, in the case of the video that I shared, it was actually somebody walking through a subway underground in Japan and collecting data from that. but it's an isolated model. How do we connect all these models together? How do we crowdsource this data? So how can we actually, for example, have a three-dimensional digital twin of Tokyo that's all crowdsourced, so I can walk along the street, I can go underground, and I can stitch all that data together. I think that's our next big challenge in the world of data collection and ease of generating 3D models and digital twins. So again, lots of fascinating things happened, lots of fascinating announcements this week. If you want to stay ahead of this, please sign up for our newsletter. I've got a link to it attached to this video. I try and keep folks up to date with what's actually happening that's new in the geospatial world. And believe me, it's phenomenal what's happening, and the speed of it is crazy. So if you're interested in staying up to date with that, please sign up to the newsletter. If you've got thoughts, comments, additions to what I've spoken about today, I really welcome any feedback that you want to give, and I'll do another one of these very soon.